Ricoh Danielson, national security expert and U.S. Army combat veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. Ricoh, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
It's great to have you back with us. So we've hit the 3-year mark, hard to believe, of the Russia-Ukraine war today as the most destructive conflict really in Europe since World War II, which has now turned into a brutal war of attrition. How crucial is it to end this war, and how do you see this playing out in terms of compromises on either side?
So when we talk about this needing to end, it's very, very vital that the regional players such as France, Germany, and other countries need to come step forward and actually police in their own area in support with the United States. Unfortunately, the United States has kind of had its run of the mill, and it's kind of done, supporting this war, and kind of just wants to end the financial support. This needs to happen sooner than later because Zelensky knows that his back is against the wall. He's losing men on the battlefield hand over fist, and the projection of the outlook of this is not good. It's very grim. And if he doesn't do this before the next winter, he'll be on a losing front.
Now, with what appear to be successful talks in Saudi Arabia, discussions now with the French President Emmanuel Macron, how close do you think we actually are to ending this war?
I believe that this war will end hopefully this year. That's what I'm projecting. And it's going to take a unison of different deals here, not only from the Ukraine perspective, very big on the United States perspective of the money we gave and the money that Zelensky cannot pay back. So, obviously we want our own deal for mineral rights. But furthermore, there are other key players in here supporting people such as Saudi Arabia, the local region of Germany, Poland, and whatnot. And they want to have a stake in the game as well. So it's incumbent upon all of the world leaders and these top countries to ensure that the deal is struck. Russia doesn't want to fight a war, a continued war anymore, just because it's not in good faith, right? It doesn't set them world stage as a good leader like that. They actually want resolution as well. So I'm very interested to see. Probably by the end of the year, we'll have a resolution.
I want to play a clip from President Trump and Prime Minister Macron from earlier today.
I'm also pleased that President Macron agrees that the cost and burden of securing the peace must be borne by the nations of Europe, not alone by the United States. And Europe must take that central role in assuring long-term security of Ukraine, which they want to do.
A very clear statement with the President or Prime Minister of France sitting right by his side, standing there. The U.S. has contributed significantly more aid than Europe as a whole. Being on the same continent, how can European countries take a more central role in securing peace in Ukraine, whether that be now or after the war?
So the European countries can actually set themselves as a frontline mechanism of defense, much like they did in Berlin on the Berlin Wall. They actually put troops on the ground. They put more heavily armor on the ground, and they can actually secure their area. They need to do that, and then on top of that, they need to do show of force. Right now, they are in the middle of a war, and they just don't want to be it. But the United States can't keep funding these things and supporting these things. So therefore, it's upon them that they step forward and actually do a little bit more on their side. If it's not for them, it's for their children, because Russia will continue to push the envelope if they don't really belly up to the beast here.
I want to play one more soundbite and get your reaction.
And while we've given vast amounts of military aid and money in form of grants, much of Europe's contribution has been economic relief structured as loans for which they'll be repaid. Like the Europeans, I believe that taxpayers in the United States also deserve to recoup the colossal amounts of money that we've sent.
You just touched on it. What is your take on Trump's call for compensation from Ukraine, and what would such a deal mean for both countries?
I think it's only fair. I mean, you talk about European, Polish, and also the regions, soldiers are dying. And unfortunately, they're putting a lot of military support in here, ammunition, bread, beans, and bullets. And so is the United States. And I believe that it's only fair to strike a deal that compensates them for that. And what does that look like? It might be assets within Ukraine, government assets, government buildings, or even possible land. The United States wants mineral rights. We want the right of passage through to Russia. So, I mean, there has to be some sort of reasonable resolution and a reasonable remedy from Ukraine, because they know they can't pay the money back.
Ricoh Danielson, really appreciate your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.